Are you tired of real estate agents telling you what you're doing wrong when you're trying to sell your house by yourself? Well, in this video, I'm going to talk to you about the entire process that you need to go through to be able to sell your house on your own. Make sure to stay to the end because the last tip is the most important and it will make sure that your house actually sells, especially in this hot real estate market. Hey, what's going on everybody? My name is Martin Elefant, and on this channel we talk everything Teaneck, New Jersey. I usually talk about how to purchase a home, moving to the area, stuff like that. But in today's video, I'm going to tell you exactly how to sell your house in this market, because this market is on fire and you'll be able to get a lot of money for your house if you do it correctly. Now, a few things I want to do, and I have my notes here, so we're going to go through them. But basically, there are a few strategies and tips that real estate agents usually go through on selling a property. So I'm going to give all that information to you today for free. So make sure to stay to the end, because the last tip is the most important and it will actually make sure that your house sells in this market. So we're going to jump right in. The first thing you need to understand is to have a buyer compensation. And what that really is a commission that you're going to pay to a buyer's agent when they bring you a buyer. Now, the reason we do this is because you want to incentivize realtors in the community to show your property. Now, the fact that you're selling it by yourself and you're trying to reduce your cost is one thing. But when it comes to having potential buyers come through to see your property, you need to incentivize the realtors in the community who work with buyers to bring their clients to you. A lot of sellers don't realize buyers work with realtors because realtors are getting paid on the sale of the home. They're not getting paid from the buyer, they're getting paid by the seller with that commission that they have an agreement with the listing agent. So that listing agent is usually charging anywhere from 5 to 6%. And what's going to happen is that selling agent is going to take half of the commission for themselves, and they're going to incentivize realtors in the community with the other half. So in Teaneck, New Jersey, the commission usually runs anywhere from 2 to 2.5%. So be willing to incentivize the realtors by paying that commission to them. The next thing I want to talk about is getting a separate phone number for when you would decide to sell. Now, the reason we do this is because you're going to probably post your home on Zillow or for salebyowner.com, and you're going to have a contact section, and you don't want your personal phone number to get bombarded with phone calls from real estate agents who are going to tell you to ask you to list their property with them. And the whole point of this is so you're able to do it yourselves, right? So you don't want realtors calling you to list the property. You want people calling you who are going to bring you buyers, show your property, and hopefully get it sold, right? The second thing, you're going to get a ton of investors calling you and giving you lowball offers, right? Another thing we don't want. So the reason is we don't want your personal information on these websites because that information is going to get pulled into tax records, and real estate agents like myself who cold call, right, we have access to all that information, and you don't want your personal phone number associated with the address or that property, right? So that's one thing to just safeguard. Two, you just don't want random people calling your personal cell phone number because you're going to get bombarded with calls even after it sells, or potentially if it doesn't sell a few months down the road, people will still be able to get that contact information and give you a call. So make sure that you go and purchase a separate phone number. You could buy a Google number, anything like that, and they're relatively cheap. So with that being said, tip number 3 is you're going to have to deal with a lot of showings, right? And you're going to be having to schedule these appointments. So the first thing that I need you to understand when it comes to selling a property is it is very time consuming, right? A lot of sellers don't realize that real estate agents have to go through a ton of time preparing your house as well as scheduling the appointments, right? So there's a few things you could do. One, you have to keep in mind that your house has to be available at all times for you to show it. In this market especially, homes are sitting on the market anywhere from 2 to 8 days on average, right? Homes are selling like fire. And the reason is because we have tons of buyers who are looking to move to this area, and they've been looking for over a year, but homes are flying off the market. So people are getting multiple offers with all above asking usually, or a full price if it's priced a little bit on the higher end, right? If you're trying to get $400 for your home, you may list it at $389, so that you're pulling in the buyers who are a little bit under their budget, but you're also pulling in people whose budget is up to $500. And the reason they're doing that is because, like, take me for instance, I'm showing buyers homes $50,000 under the asking price or under their their top margin price. And the reason we're doing that is so that they have wiggle room to negotiate in terms of coming up with a higher offer if there's a house they really like. So you want to make sure that you have enough time that you're able to bring buyers in and the realtors in so that they can actually show your property, right? So you have to make sure that if you're at work, right, you have to have some way to be able to show the property, or after work you have to be able to send your kids somewhere if you have kids, or if you don't have kids, you have to be able to have the time to allow people to come and show the property. Otherwise, your house is going to sit on the market for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then all of a sudden it's 2 months, and people are going to be like, why is this house still on the market? What's wrong with it? There has to be something wrong with this house, right? So you have to understand that when it comes to scheduling appointments, you have to be available and flexible to allow people to come and see the property. And even though it's COVID, make sure they wear masks, make sure they wear gloves and all those things, and you should be fine. The second thing, how do we get them in, right? How do we get them in? There are a few things you could do. One, you can go and purchase a lockbox at Home Depot or Staples or any of the local stores right here, and you could get the ones with the little circle dot, the little circle numbers that you could just span up. And yeah, if people are texting you and they want to show the property, you put a key in there, you give them the code, they'll go and show the property, right? But the best way to do it, right, because you want to be able to track who's going to the property, when are they going, when did they leave, all of those things, right? So you can go to NJMLS, which is the New Jersey Multiple Listing Service, and you can rent one of their electronic lockboxes, because real estate agents have access to those through what's called the super key, which is a digital passcode that we have on our phones that allows us to go and see property. What this also allows is you're able to go on and you're able to see all the people and when they're going, what times they're going in, and when they left. This is very important because now you're going to get actual feedback from the realtors on if their clients were interested or if they weren't interested. And this is relatively cheap. It could be around a couple $100, something like that. So just make sure that you look into that and purchase that, because it's going to really save you enough time. And the other aspect is you don't want random people going into your house, right? Someone calls you saying, hey, I have a client, right? You don't actually know if they're a real estate agent. You want them to be able to have it on their phone so that they can actually use the key that they pay for to be able to get into the lockbox and show the property. This is a safety thing, right? And you don't want someone going into your house and all of a sudden something's missing, right? So if I show your house at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, all of a sudden you see that I signed up, you accept the time slot that I allotted for to show the property, and let's just say you were home, you left, I came, I showed the property, you came back, all of a sudden something's missing, right? Now you know that it was me and my client who did that, right? So that's something that you want to take advantage of. So it's a security thing on your end, but it also safeguards the realtors because we're liable for that. So we don't want to get taken advantage of by our buyers, and we also want to make sure that we're doing it securely. We're within our rights and our code of ethics, right? So those are just a few things with that. The next tip I want to talk about is getting a sign and putting it in your lawn, right? There are a few things you could do. One, you could pay a company and they'll put in a sign for I think around $100-200. They'll come and they'll really hammer it into the ground and it'll be a really nice, beautiful sign. The other thing you could do is just go to like a local store, purchase one of those classic for sale by owner signs, put it in the grass, put your phone number on it, and make sure again that it's the line that you purchased, because again, you don't want your personal information out there. The next thing I want to talk about is probably one of the more professional and important things that you should be doing for your house, which is professional photography. A lot of people don't realize this, but when you post your home on Zillow or Trulia or Redfin or any of these sites that you could post for sale by owner, you want beautiful, beautiful photos. And the reason being is because if you take some photos with your phone and a crappy camera, you don't realize that when we look at a home, if you're a buyer and you look at a home and you see crappy photos, you're gonna be like, oh, this house isn't nice, I don't want to see it, stuff like that. So really beautiful professional photos are going to be really enticing to buyers. You want your house to look like the most beautiful house at the price that it's listed at, right? So you want to make sure that you have professional photos. If you want to do a video, make sure to get that video. That video could be posted on your social media accounts. You could post it on Zillow, right? So you can give people a walkthrough of your property. But again, you want those photos to be professional, and that'll probably cost you anywhere from $400 to $500. So make sure you look into that. That's something I really heavily recommend. Photos are one of the most important aspects when it comes to selling your house. Now, the next thing you want to do is actually create flyers, right? And this is something you could do just on your computer. You take the photo of the front of the house, You can use a program called Canva, which is free. You upload the photo of your house, make a few flyers, write a description about the property, where it's located, is it a good commute to the city, close to houses of worship, shopping, all of those good things, right? But again, you want to put on that information. You want to put how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, how much square foot of living space you have, right? That's your main floor, your upstairs. That's not the basement. The basement doesn't count towards the square footage of your home. But also specify, does it have a basement? Is it finished, right? Is there access to the backyard through the basement? You want to put in it how many car garages you have. You also want to add your taxes, right? These are all important aspects of the property that you want to make sure are on this flyer. Right when a realtor comes into the house, there's going to be a box with a ton of flyers. They're going to be able to take one, give it to their client, right? Now they have all the information of the house. Another thing you could do on the flyer, on the back side, what I usually do is we'll write a floor plan, and this is something that your photographer or videographer could do. So I definitely recommend talking to them about that. So again, I really want to just hit home again on the pictures and the flyers, right? Because you're going to be posting some pictures on the flyers. This is going to really affect how long it stays on the market, and this is going to affect if the pictures are as beautiful as the home actually is. It will be really good to see that people are like, wow, the photos were great and the price was phenomenal, right? So you want both of those to mesh really well together, so that again, you're not getting a lower offer on the property. And again, the more people that see the photos, like the photos, they're going to come to the house. So you want 30, 40 showings. You want 5, 10, 15 offers on this property, right? And again, those photos are what's going to draw the buyer into going to see the property. Even if it's a for sale by owner, it doesn't matter. Because again, you're giving the realtor commission. So the realtor is going to be like, oh wow, this for sale by owner is paying out a commission. Let me send it to my buyers. If a for sale by owner isn't giving commission, he's gonna call you, ask for commission, and you're gonna argue over that a little bit. So if you're just upfront and you're saying, hey, I'm willing to pay a commission, 2 to 2.5%, wow, that realtors are gonna be like, wow, I'm gonna send this to my client. Now, the next topic we're gonna talk about is negotiating, right? So when it comes to negotiating offers, there are a lot of things that people don't realize when it comes to offers, right? One, they're gonna submit offer paperwork, and in that is gonna be how much money they're gonna be putting down on the property, how much they're taking out on a loan, and all that's good stuff, right? But also they're going to include items that are in the house that they may want, right? So if there's a washer and dryer, they're going to be like, hey, that's included in the sale. You have to specify what's included and what's not, because they may say, oh, I really like the chandelier, I want that in the house, and they'll put that in the offer. So the one thing I really recommend when it comes to negotiating offers is have an attorney. Now, an attorney in New Jersey roughly runs anywhere from $1,200 to $1,800. And again, this is a minimal cost when it comes to the sale of your property, because we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars here, and spending anywhere from, let's just say, $1,500 is relatively on the low end. But again, that attorney is going to look out for your interests, and they're going to negotiate the offer and help you along the way. So I definitely recommend looking into that. So again, keep in mind that you really want someone to be there to help you with the paperwork, but also someone to be there to negotiate on your behalf, right? This is something we do as real estate agents, right? This is why we get paid. We don't just get paid to list your property, put it on the market, and get it sold. There are a lot of things that we do that most homeowners don't understand, right? We post it on the MLS. We have to pay to list the home on the MLS. We have to get that lockbox. We have to do all the scheduling and making sure that the home is available to be shown at that time, right? We pay for the photographer and videographer, right? This is all the costs we're putting up front before the home sale. So we're basically taking on all of that cost, and we don't even know if the home is going to sell, right? So these are things that you have to realize, right? So after the attorney review process, what happens is then you go into the period where the buyer's going to get their mortgage. And what happens is the bank is going to be like, hey, we're going to send someone to appraise the house. And let's just say you want $410 for the house, and the offer comes in and you guys accept it at $400. You go through attorney review, all good, smooth. But then all of a sudden the appraiser comes in and he's like, oh, well, the house is only worth $385, right? So now either you have to lower your price from $400, which is the accepted offer, or the buyer has to pay that additional cost, right? They have to come up with that 15 grand. And there's a big chance that the buyer isn't going to want to do that, and you're not going to want to lower your price, right? So just want to let you guys all know. So yeah, I know that I'm talking about a lot of things right here, and yeah, you are going to spend some money on the attorney, on the photography, on the signs, and the lock boxes, right? So we're talking about a few $1,000s here, right? So I just want to make sure that you understand that there are costs associated with selling the home. Okay. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is an open house. And I fully recommend you do not host the open house yourselves. And there are a few reasons, like I mentioned before. One, you should not be at the house when realtors are showing the property, because again, you don't want to run into an issue where you're arguing with the buyer about something in the house that they say they don't like, but you happen to really love. And it may be the most beautiful kitchen in your eyes, but they may say, wow, this is a disgusting kitchen. You don't want to get into that fight, right? You don't want to have that argument or anything like that. So what I suggest when it comes to an open house is what you could do is find a local realtor in the community. And again, you're not paying the realtor to do this. What you're doing is saying, hey, I'm for sale by owner. I'm looking for someone to show my property to respective buyers. Host an open house, and what I'll say is any person that comes by, you get all the buyers who don't have agents, right? And this is a good way for a realtor to build their business, because now they're going to be able to start working with buyers, and you are having someone be able to show the property correctly, talk to the buyers, point out all the positives of the house, stay away from the negatives so that the home actually sells. The next thing you're going to do is, after that open house, call the realtor who hosts it, find out the feedback, ask him if he got any clients, and I'm sure they will, because this market is on fire. Our company, we've had 3 open houses the last 3 weeks. Each week we've had anywhere from 30 to 80 people show up to these open houses, and we've had 3 homes that have had anywhere from 10 to 21 offers on them, all above asking. So again, it's a really hot market. I really recommend that if you're going to host an open house, call a local realtor who's probably new, right? A new realtor will jump on doing an open house for you so that they have a chance to get those buyer leads. And again, please don't be there when you do the open house. And again, this is something that we cover as realtors when we list your property as well. Another thing I wanted to talk about is if the house is vacant, right? If you purchase a new home and you moved out already and it's basically vacant, there's no furniture in there, I would highly recommend staging the home. What staging the home actually does is you pay a staging consultant where maybe $1,000 or $1,500. Well, they'll come in, they'll put furniture out, they'll hang pictures, and they'll make the house look presentable so that the buyer, when they come in, they can visualize what the house will look like with furniture. Chances are you'll still have furniture in the home, so that shouldn't be an issue. But if you have furniture in the home, make sure you declutter the home, right? You don't want your family portrait on the wall or pictures of your family, because you want the buyer to be able to associate their family there, right? We tell all of our sellers that we don't want any personal photos or anything personal lying around the house, right? You want to make sure that your counters are clear, right? You don't want anything on it. You want them to be able to come in, see a blank canvas, and design the house in their imagination, right? These are a few things that I would say. Now, the last tip I want to touch on is pricing, right? This is probably the most important aspect of selling your home. You don't want to price your house too high, and you don't want to price your house too low. I'll talk about pricing your house too low. If you price your house $50,000 to $40,000 under the market value price, chances are buyers are going to come and they're just going to offer that number because they know that you are for sale by owner. They expect you to not be as educated on the market, so they're going to just keep the offers right at the price you ask, right? So that's one thing, definitely no go. The second thing is overpricing your house, right? Don't go to Zillow, look at the Zestimate and be like, oh, well, Zillow says my home is $500, so I'm going to list it at $530, right? To me, that's not a really good estimate. What the best thing to do in this market are 2 things. One, you can call a local real estate agent, ask them to come over, give you a comparative market analysis, also known as a CMA, also known as a free home evaluation. They're going to basically come in, you're going to say, hey, what would you sell my house for in today's market? And what they're going to do, you're going to walk them through the property, they're going to point things out, tell you what should be fixed, what shouldn't be fixed, right? 9 out of 10 times they're going to say, don't touch anything, just sell it as is. And the reason being is because you're never going to put in $1 and get $1 back. Chances are you're going to put in $1, maybe get 80 cents back. So we always recommend do not do anything to the house. Keep it as is. It is the safest and smartest way to sell the property. Now, the second thing you could do is you can pay a real estate appraiser to come in and tell you what a bank would give a loan on this property for. Now, so what that actually does is they'll say, hey, the home is worth $400,000, so that means that the bank is telling you that they will give a loan at $400,000. So don't list your property above that price point. So that is basically how you sell your house for sale by owner, and that is basically the process that we usually do to get our properties sold for our clients. Again, I will leave my contact information below. Reach out with any questions you have about this video or anything I talked about in this video. And if you're looking for that free home evaluation, definitely hit me up, either text, call, or email. Someone from our office will definitely reach out to you. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, click the bell notification to get notified for more videos in the future about Teaneck, New Jersey, and I'll see you on the next one.